everybody. Welcome. We are going to open our meeting for Monday, January 9th, 2023 to order. And we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing, please, for a moment of silence. And please remember the Chief from Brackenridge, who just gave up his life in the line of duty.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Mr. Thomas, roll call, please.
Certainly. Mr. Delaney?
Here.
Mr. Dern?
Here.
Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Mr. Hadley? Here. Mr. Seitz?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Vento is absent this evening. Mayor Schlegel?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report for the month of December 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Barron.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Need a motion to approve the expenses for the month of December 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Also need a motion to approve the minutes for the December 2022 council meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving along here, recognition of achievement in the community. Mr. Mayor, you have a crowd here tonight for you.
Yes, I do. They came to see me. I have two recognitions that I want to begin with. And Mr. Odom, would you please rise?
Dave, why don't you come on up?
Come on up here, David.
Welcome home.
Gentlemen. Good evening. Mr. Odom has accomplished a lot of things in a very short period of time. And what I want to do this evening is recognize his accomplishments. Whereas, Dave Odom has been a member of the American Taekwondo Association for only 4 years. However, his accomplishments are many. And whereas, Dave Odom started martial arts training in 2018 and had his first promotional testing in January 2019. And whereas, Dave participated in his first martial arts tournament in 2019 where he placed first. We don't know what this means, but I'm going to read it. Traditional form, traditional sparring and combat weapons sparring. And whereas Dave earned his first titles in 2020, Pennsylvania State Champion for both traditional forms and traditional weapons, Northeast District Champion in traditional weapons, traditional sparring and combat weapons sparring, men's color belt, 40 to 49 years of age, division. And whereas, in August 2021, he earned a rank of first degree black belt. And whereas, in 2022, he was declared the Northeast District Champion, traditional forms and traditional weapons, men's first degree black belt, 50 to 59. I'm assuming that's your age, sir.
It is now, yes.
Welcome.
And whereas, also in 2022, Dave became the world champion for combat weapons sparring, men's first degree black belt, 50 to 59 division. Therefore, be it resolved that I, as mayor, along with Borough Council, wish to congratulate Dave Odom for his accomplishments in martial arts and wish to warn all, don't mess with Dave. Signed this 9th day of January 2023. David, that's a hell of an accomplishment in a short period of time.
Speech?
Oh, wow.
You can do
Is this
it.
working?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the acknowledgement, gentlemen. I do have my family here, if they would
Yes.
just rise briefly. as well as my head instructor, 9th degree black belt grandmaster Michael Caruso. He's here as well. I do want to thank them for their support. I want to thank the instructors at the ATA for the support that they provided to me accomplishing this goal. Specifically, my two sons, Noah and Nicholas. If it weren't for Noah, he was the one who actually wanted to do Taekwondo to begin with. I didn't really want much to do with it. He said, "Dad, let's do this together." So if it weren't for Noah encouraging me to do it, he trained with me, he went to the athlete development camps with me, and it was just phenomenal being able to achieve my black belt with my son and compete in all the tournaments that we went to over the last 4 years. I'd also like to thank my other son, Nicholas. During the World Championship sparring match, combat sparring match, before I entered into it, I think it was like my 5th or 6th match of the day, and I was wiped out. And my son Nicholas walked over to me and he was like, "Dad, come on, pick it up. We didn't come all the way out here to Phoenix to watch you lose." So, thank you, son, for the encouragement. It definitely means a lot. I'd also like to thank my wife, Charmaine, for putting up with me going to all these tournaments and picking up the slack and taking care of the family and doing all the things that she does. Definitely, it's appreciated. So thank you all. Thank you for the acknowledgement, and hopefully I can do it again in 2023.
Mayor, before you go any, one last thing. I'd like to just point out that Grandmaster Caruso, who's with us here tonight too, he has many, many black belts in Plum Boro. Both of my children are black belts through Mr. Caruso. I know Jim Rumbaugh is also one of Mr. Caruso's black belts, and he runs a great ship over there. I remember when my kids were 6, 8 years old walking around, and kids younger walking around in his establishment saying, walking in straight lines, "Yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir." Like, you just don't see that. The respect that they get from kids, and well deserved. If you're ever looking to get involved, guys, if you're ever looking to get involved, there's the guy right there. He's one of the best. And thanks for being here, Mike. Appreciate it.
If I can say something?
Absolutely,
I
yes.
just want to thank all of you and the mayor for recognizing residents of the Plum Boro area. That's very nice of you guys to do. This guy's been committed from day one with his son, and you don't make this title without that type of commitment. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.
Okay, Stallions, come on up here.
We have another room.
You know, guys, I want you to remember, a little bit of dedication, a whole lot of effort and hard work, you too become a world champion. Come on up here, guys. I don't bite. They do, but I do. Okay. This proclamation is honoring the Plum Stallions Under 10 Division 2022 Youth Football Team. Whereas, the hard work, dedication, determination, sportsmanship, and teamwork of the 2022 Plum Stallions accomplished many things and finished with an undefeated 10-0 season to advance to the Allegheny Youth Football League Super Bowl, where they were rewarded by being crowned Youth Super Bowl champions of the AYFL. And whereas the Stallions were able to hold, and I do not like Lower Borough, guys, I didn't like them when my boys played, okay? They held the Lower Borough recruits, who averaged 36 points per game, to 0 points. And whereas winning the Youth Football Super Bowl is a respectable legacy to leave to all who participate in youth sports. However, the true legacy that they leave is that hard work, practice, even in the cold and rain, teamwork, and determination to succeed lead to success. And whereas the Plum Youth Football Stallions were led by head coach Tony Benora, assistant coaches Matt Morgan, Kevin Rukowski, TJ Jones, Dan Petrunek, and if I mispronounce, I apologize, Ron Badali, Sean Richardson, Joe Klippa, and Frank Brisolis. These coaches not only taught these young boys the basics of football. But they also took the time and made the effort to instill sound principles that will help these young boys to achieve success in life. Whereas, these boys demonstrated that through teamwork, all season long, good things happen. And as a result, they brought great pride not only to themselves, but to their families and to Plum Boro. Whereas, the parents, through their unwavering support and giving of their time, were integral in guiding this team to victory in the Super Bowl and throughout life. Now therefore, I, Harry R. Schlegel, Mayor, with the members of Plum Boro Council, do hereby recognize and heartily congratulate the 2022 Plum Stallions on their outstanding accomplishment. In witness thereof, I, Harry R. Schlegel, here have unto set my hand on this 9th day of January 2023. Gentlemen,
Dads, coaches want to come up and take pictures, you're more than welcome.
all right, now first of all, guys, before we go any further, you need to give your parents and your coaches, but primarily your parents, who have taken you to every practice, even in the rain, who've done fundraising, and have given you guidance, you need to give them a hand. Okay, and you're Joey Porter. No, you're not. Okay, no, I'm not. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, well done.
Mayor screws up.
Often.
All right, guys,
Does the coach want to come and say a word?
before we go, we'll get it to your coach. You all get copies of the proclamation. We just didn't have time to print them all out tonight. I didn't realize there were so many of you. And a lot of you were champions, Super Bowl champions last year, were you not? You moved up a grade. There you go. All right.
Well done.
Turn around, guys. When I call your name, just step forward so the camera can get a good picture of you when I call your name. Luke Benora. Just step forward, wave. Luke Benora. Nico Dapra. Jacob Petrunek. Grayson Irwin. Patrick Klink.
Luke, you can step back now.
Hayden Miner. Kaylin Tajak. Did I pronounce that right or did I screw that up? Logan Corson. Valen Pierre. Mason Morgan. Noah Gunter. Jack Benora. Liam Rupert. Cole Bellino. Sullivan Oskin. Brock Bogowski. Nicholas Pfeiffer. AJ Pfeiffer. Maxim Richardson. Max Bishop. Gavin Puka. Liam Silliman. Carmine Luetta. Santino Vidali. Brady Stitt. Cameron Kiss. Vinny Shuley. Mason Ney. Otto Shellhammer. Colton Hartley. Gioni Lurica. And I know I messed that up big time. Jaden Taylor. Colt Knapp. Luke McClure. Carter Jones. Christian Akins. Joey Klippa. Kate Razulis. Marco Dapra. And Jackson Judd. Gentlemen, congratulations. Anybody want to take a picture? Come up now before we move on. And they all got their sweatshirts tonight, their championship sweatshirts, Super Bowl champions. Mr. Benora.
Yes, sir. You better finish. You got them tonight. I gotta watch the game.
Okay, guys, thank you. And Mr. President, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, we'll continue on with the agenda now, moving to civic announcements.
Good evening. I'm Pam from the Plum Library, and I just want to give you guys some highlights from the past year. We created 566 brand new library cards for people who have never had a library card before. In addition, at the end of last year, beginning of this year, we got every student in the Plum Boro School District a library card that will be sent home to them in the next few weeks if they haven't gotten it already. So it gives all those kids access to all of our e-resources, and we've seen more kids coming in. We've also circulated in 2022 more than 130,000 items, both physical and digital, and we added 2,500 new physical items into our collection. So we're always having new things at the library. And just for everyone out there, a reminder of things we have to borrow that we're more than just books, but we have lots of great books. We have video games, board games, Wi-Fi hotspots, which are great if you're traveling and need internet on the go. We also have cake pans and cookie cutters as well. So whatever you may need, the library probably has it, so stop by and visit us. Thank you.
Any other civic announcements this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move along to President's comments. I just have one very important announcement this evening, and I'm not sure many people on this board even knew, but our solicitor had a birthday last week. So I just wanted to wish Bruce Dice a happy birthday. You're 52? 52?
53.
53, okay. Happy birthday. Moving along to citizens' comments on agenda items. We have nobody signed up for that, so move right along to council actions. Mr. Laney, on behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, I move to grant preliminary/final subdivision approval for the Cano Plan of Lots FSC-11-22, Block 1240-R-251 to Sheets Incorporated as recommended by the Planning Commission, contingent upon final review and approval of the Borough Engineer.
We have a motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the request for conditional use approval, CU-04-22, Block 1240-R-251, to Sheets Incorporated for a gas station with a convenience store is recommended by Planning Commission.
Motion by Mr.
I'll
Delaney.
second it.
Second by Mr. Taylor, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the request for conditional use approval, CU-05-22, lot block -1240-R251 to Sheets Incorporated for a drive-through facility with the condition that bollards be placed in areas where the required turning radius does not meet code. This recommendation was made by the Planning Commission and the Borough Engineer.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the preliminary/final land development SP-05-22, lot block 1240-R-251, Sheets Incorporated is recommended by the Planning Commission contingent upon final review and approval of the Borough Engineer. This approval also includes the four request waivers modifications related to lighting, parking, paving, and turning radius.
We have a motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hadley, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And lastly, I move to approve the solicitor rates as presented by the ZHB.
We have a motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Delaney. All right, you ready, Mr. Hadley? It's a long list you got here.
Try to do this fast as quick as I can.
On behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, Mr. Delaney.
Mr. Hadley.
You bet. Mr. Hadley. I'm sorry, Mr. Hadley. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President, I think. On behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, I move to accept the resignation of Sean Davis from the Planning Commission effective January 1st, 2023.
We have a motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sykes, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, I move to accept the resignation of James Rumbaugh from the Municipal Authority Board effective January 1st, 2023.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to reappoint John Joyce to the Civil Service Commission for a 6-year term ending December 31st, 2028.
Motion by Mr.
I'll
Hadley.
second that.
Second by Mr. Taylor, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, I move to reappoint Steve Bullock to the Library Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2025.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to reappoint Mark Allison to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2026.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sykes, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to reappoint Gus Lewis to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2026.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to reappoint Dave Majernik to the Zoning Hearing Board for a 5-year term ending December 31st, 2027.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to reappoint Dave Majernik to the Vacancy Board for a 1-year term ending December 31st, 2023.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Hadley, seconded by Mr. Taylor, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to appoint Katie McGregor to the Library Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2025.
We have a motion by Mr. Hadley,
Second.
second by Mr. Sykes, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to appoint Sarah Brown to the Library Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2025.
Motion-
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hadley, second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to appoint Stu Rolnick to the Municipal Authority Board to fill the unexpired term of James Rumbaugh, ending December 31st, 2024.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Hadley, second by Mr. Taylor, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to appoint Jeff Russo to the Municipal Authority Board to fill the unexpired term of Jim Stesick, ending December 31st, 2025.
Motion by Mr. Hadley,
Second.
second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to appoint Joe Trumbolo to the Planning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Sean Davis, ending December 31st, 2025.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, on behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, I move to appoint Nate Miller to the Zoning Hearing Board to fill an unexpired term ending December 31st, 2023.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Hadley, seconded by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that is all I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley. Appreciate it. On behalf of the Parks and Recreation Committee, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. On behalf of the Parks and Recreation Committee, I move to table this item.
Motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Seitz, on behalf of the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to approve the Dollar Bank Originator Agreement.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to approve the Dollar Bank Wire Transfer Agreement.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Seitz. And Mr. Taylor, you're doing Mr. Ventos?
I am.
Okay. On behalf of the Roads, Equipment, and Grounds Committee, Mr. Taylor.
On behalf of the Roads, Equipment, and Grounds Committee, I move to enact ordinance 971-23, reestablishing a flood mitigation fee.
We have a motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Seitz. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, opposed? That motion carries.
On behalf of the Roads, Equipment, and Grounds Committee, I move to adopt Resolution 947-23, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement and letter of support for 2 Green Light Go grant applications.
Motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Roads, Equipment, and Grounds Committee, I move to support approve the 2023 paving list as presented.
Motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you.
That concludes council elections for the evening. We'll move along to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sir.
In December, our uniformed patrol officers responded to 891 calls, and that's roughly a 3% increase from November. 2 of our detectives, both Detective Little and Moriarty, attended the law enforcement enterprise portal training. That is a secure platform for law enforcement agencies, intelligence groups, and criminal justice. The proceeds, if you noticed, our officers have been looking kind of hairy wandering around here with their beards and those that can grow it. They can't grow hair on their head, some of them, but they do grow it on their face. Well, the proceeds from our No Shave December fundraiser were donated to the Plum Food Bank, and the department collected $1,250 from participating officers. Plum officers also provided a safe and secure environment for this year's Christmas at Plum Creek, which was the first time at this building, at this center. You know, people leave organizations for several reasons, but the 2 main reasons is because of pay and because they get no respect. I've been reading this every month for 5 years, and this community respects our officers. And again, 5 years I've been reading this report, and I have yet to be invited down for coffee.
Take your hand.
December's thoughtful citizens. On December 8th, Bobby Casarica and Darlene Scott from Purple Plums dropped off a gift basket. Listen to this, gift basket of chocolates and snacks for our officers in appreciation of their service to our community. On December 13th, Brian Sockman of the Sockman Funeral Home dropped off a box of candy for the department, wishing everyone happy holidays. On December 13th, Mark and Brad Petropalo of the Pittsburgh Sports Complex sent Mrs. Fields cookies to the department, wishing them all a Merry Christmas. On December 14th, Michael Cerniglia of Michael's Painting brought in a dozen of Oakmont Bakery donuts and appreciation for the job of our officers do on a daily basis. On December 14th, Raschuti Enterprises of 2000 Golden Mile Highway dropped off a fruit basket to the officers, wishing them a Merry Christmas. Jennifer Matasic of Regency Park provided our officers with a tray of cookies in memory of her late son Mark for the first annual cookie drive in his name. On December 18th, Plum Boro Girl Scouts Association delivered Christmas cookies for the police department. On December 21st, Benjamin Brown, the director of Allegheny County Family Services, dropped off a cookie tray with a thank you for the work they have done over the past year. On December 24th, Dee Farena of Holiday Park brought in homemade cinnamon rolls for the department as a thank you to the officers. On Christmas Day, Brianne Loveland of Holiday Park delivered a complete Christmas dinner for the officers who were working on that holiday. Included in the dinner was the following: honey baked ham, potatoes au gratin, green bean casserole, parsley potatoes, mac and cheese, macaroni salad, Brussels sprouts, rolls, cupcakes, and cookies. On December 29th, Elizabeth Grimm provided a food basket in appreciation for those officers who attempted to resuscitate her late husband during an ambulance call in October of 22. Pat and Stan Kazmarski brought in New Year's pretzels and a card for the police department thanking the officers and wishing them a happy new year. But again, this community respects our officers, and I know for a fact our officers respect this community. And maybe this year I'll get invited for cinnamon rolls or something down there.
Don't comment.
Mr. President, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving on to committee reports, the Intergovernmental Cooperative Committee with the Plum School District. No meeting scheduled? Okay. Mr. Sykes, Finance Committee.
All right, thanks, Mr. Doyle. For the highlights for the month of December, the borough recognized revenues of $1.3 million, expenditures of $4 million. A total of $73,000 was received under the real estate tax revenues, ending the year at 101% of budget. We received another $400,000 from current income tax revenues, ending the year over $400,000 over budget. And the regional asset district tax came in at the end of the year at 119% over budget. Overall for the year, revenues were 118% of budget, but most of that was due to recognizing a portion of the ARPA grants during 2022. The expenditures for the year, the borough was 113%, was over budget, 113%, but the main reason for that was unaudited internal transfers for between the funds and insurance proceed expenditures for the administrative facility here. And in 2022, the independent audit is scheduled to begin on January 12th, will be performed by Mayor Dussel again. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Sykes. Did Mr. Mental leave a report for the road?
He did, I did, yes.
Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. Public Works received the Ford Transit van, and it will be upfitted with ladder racks and interior shelving. They also received the new Peterbilt cab and chassis for upfitting. Hot asphalt is no longer available for the roadway repairs due to the cold weather. Cold patching operations will now take place for potholes until spring. The Public Works crew cleaned up illegally dumped building materials along Barking Road. An inventory of pipe supplies was completed. Stormwater-related materials will be ordered in hopes that there will not be so many supply chain issues in this past years. There are 2 snow call-outs this month during the holiday weekend that resulted in 250 hours of overtime. Preventative maintenance and state inspections were performed on 12 pieces of equipment and trucks, 2 administrative vehicles, and 9 police fleet vehicles. And that's it for roads.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Public Safety, Mr. Dern.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Maloney, if you'd please come up and give the EMS report, I'd appreciate it.
All right, thank you. I'm Brian Maloney, Director of Operations, Plum EMS. As always, I appreciate the opportunity to be up here this evening. For December, we actually had a pretty busy month. We responded to over 288 calls, transported 166 of those people. We ended up responding into mutual aid territory 25 times, in which 18 of those resulted in the transport. And we actually needed mutual aid in the Plum 18 times as well. That's about 6.5% of all the times EMS is needed in this community. We have relied on our neighbors, but we have that system in place to make sure that there's always EMS here for those who need it. I kind of created like this 2022 accomplishments. I need like an hour to talk about everything that we've done over this past year.
Brian, you're not the mayor.
Yeah, I'll try not to. But I'll keep it down to maybe 60 seconds or less. But we actually ended up responding to over 3,000 calls and transporting more than 1,800 patients. We did our annual flu vaccine clinic. We actually earned the gold recognition from the American Heart Association for our excellence in treatment of myocardial infarction and stroke patients. We gave away 8 free cribs throughout the year. We had one of our own get recognized by the state for our EMS Star of Life, which was really incredible. We helped coordinate once again that Stuff a Bus program with the different community organizations throughout the community, which required multiple vehicles to transport all those toys. We did CPR, AED, first aid, and medical emergency training for all the faculty and staff of the school district. That's over 450 people. We still and continue to participate in the Narcan Leave Behind program, in which we leave boxes of Narcan behind in houses or places where we've gone where there's substance abuse occurring. We did CPR and AED training for over 250 people. We ended up doing 58 free car seat safety checks throughout the year. We even ended up giving away 33 car seats free to families who need a safe place for a child to be. And once again, we continue working with the Plum Boro, coordinating the AED program, keeping up with the maintenance, the repairs, the replacements of all the supplies. So it's been an incredible year. We're looking for another one in 2023. And appreciate the opportunity to be up here. Any questions, comments? A story to make me smile? All right, I'm 60 seconds. So.
There you go, good job.
All right, hey, thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. That's all I have, Mr. Doyle. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Delaney, Planning and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the Planning and Economic Development, the Planning Department issued 202 permits in December. The Planning Commission met to discuss 2 subdivisions regarding the new sheets plan, both of which were recommended for approval with conditions. Staff continued to update the GIS map and met with the GIS consultant to discuss goals and projects for 2023. Staff met with a resident and the fire chief to discuss installing an additional hydrant on their property. Staff met with a resident on Rep Road to discuss an open grading violation. And code enforcement completed 168 residential occupancy inspections and addressed 11 complaints. That'll be it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Parks and Recreation Committee, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. President. At Renton Park, a water issue created during the construction project will be addressed by a small stormwater project during the upcoming spring construction season. Cabinets from the old borough building were painted and installed in the garage in their gun range at the new municipal center. Police administrative personnel moved into the new facility at the end of December, and patrol has been moving over the last week and this week. And trash and recycling cart delivery and maintenance was ongoing throughout the month. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. That ends committee reports, citizens' comments, and non-agenda items. We did have one person sign up, Mr. Bain, David Bain. Did I say that wrong?
Dave.
Me? Yeah.
Is this on?
Yeah, you're good.
First of all, before I get on to the RTKs that I want to talk about in the police report, I wanted to let you know that the borough is in violation of the ADA federal law. And that is the law concerning hearing aids or hearing devices, enhancement devices for people such as myself who can't hear. You don't understand how frustrating it is to sit there in a chair in the front row and not be able to understand what you're saying. It's extremely frustrating. And I was told tonight that you probably will have the hearing devices by next meeting. If you don't, I will file a federal lawsuit against the borough. You're in violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act, where you have to supply hearing devices for people that are hard of hearing or even deaf. So I'm going to leave it there. You got a whole month to work on it. Lower Borough, I went out there and complained to them. They had it in 2 weeks, but don't use theirs. Theirs are lousy, absolutely lousy. If you want to get good ones, talk to Bernie out in Allegheny Township. He has very good ones.
We already have them, they're just not configured with the new system yet.
Okay,
They're in that room right there, there's 6 of them.
Okay, I'll be interested in using them. Thank you very
The
much.
system is not fully operational yet, that's all.
Okay, I understand. I just wanted to let you know, in case you didn't know. Okay, I noticed that the chief of police isn't present. He's one of the people I wanted to talk to tonight. And also the officer of open records is not here. I don't think so. Are you, Jesse? Are you the ORO?
Yes, sir.
Very good, very good. I have a copy I'd like you to take a look at. You can follow along when we go. Okay?
So I just want to remind you, this is public comment. We're not.
I'm sorry?
This is a public comment section. We're not here for public debate.
Okay.
So, and you have a 6-minute limit. Just wanted to remind you of that, okay?
Okay. Any of the questions that I asked you, it's not to embarrass you at all. I think you do a good job. I'm very impressed with what has gone on so far. But there are some things I'd like to ask you, like, how long have you been the open record officer?
Excuse me, this is not a public debate. You're allowed to have this conversation with her after this meeting. This is not the time and the place. The time and the place.
Address your comments to the board.
Yeah, the time and the place to have a conversation privately is after this meeting or at the work session.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have put several right-to-know requests in to the borough, and most of them have to deal with the police records. And I was told by the, if you want to see them, I was told when I submitted it, and I submit these to the officer of open records, this young lady over here. But for some reason, Mr. Dice keeps coming and interfering with this process. He did send me one when I asked to do a personal inspection of all the police records. That I lacked being specific and overbreadth. And however, the letter is also to inform you that reviewing the pages of the borough's policy manual in person, you will have to inform the borough of what policies you would like to review in advance, so that the policies can be reviewed and potentially redacted based on applicable RTK exceptions. Please file a subsequent right-to-know request with which policies you would like to review. Please limit them to the request to be no more than 4 policies at any one time in order to avoid the lack of objections. Be advised you cannot photograph, video, copy, blah, 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 blah. Well, I did that. I submitted a request and said, I am requesting to see the pages of the Plum Boro Police Department Policy and Procedure Manual, referred to as the index or table of contents, listing the contents of the manual. I got a reply, again, not from the young lady over here, but from Mr. Dice. I don't know why he gets involved. Please be advised that the office is taking like 30 days to do that. The borough did not receive your right to know, did receive your right to know request on August the 29th of 2022. Seeking information pertaining to the right to know law. After review, the borough borough must deny your right to know request, as the borough does not possess a table of contents, index, or any documents in regard to Plum police policies. The borough cannot produce records which do not exist, and that's true. I appealed that with the OOR, and they said, if there's no record, there's no record. You're not required to make something that doesn't exist. The second one is your request for the first 20 pages of the police manual must be denied. The police manual is in a state of recodification, such that there is no first 30 pages to the police manual. So, I am requesting to do an in-person inspection of Chapter 3 of the Plum Boro Police Department Policy and Procedure Manual. Again, I got a reply from Mr. Dice. Your request to review Chapter 3 of the Police Manual must be denied. The Police Manual at this time is in a state of recodification, such that there is no third chapter of the Police Manual.
Sir, can I ask how many you're going to read?
I'm sorry?
How many requests did you put in that you're going to?
A whole bunch, but this is the last one.
Okay. Well, you,
And then I'll have one. I'm requesting to do an in-person inspection of the Plum Boro Police Department's policy and procedures dealing with, quote, records, maintenance, and releases. The problem with this is they got until January the 14th to come back to this. My problem is, they're saying, in one case, I'm allowed to come in and look at it. But I have to be more specific on what I want to look at. Well, I try to be specific by saying Chapter 3, the 20 pages, and they keep saying they don't have them. So, why I wanted the chief of police, and I'm going down to see the chief of police tomorrow, since he's not here, and ask him if he'll give me a list of all the policies and procedures that you have, so I know which ones to ask for. That was the idea of asking for the index. When I do it with other communities, they are more than happy to give me the index. New Kensington, Allegheny Township, they all gave me copies of their police procedures without even charging me, which they could do under the right to know law. But they said, no, if you want to know what they are, we want to be open and be open to the public. That's what the right to know law is all about. So that you can't hide anything. I mean, we people and I volunteered to be up here. And you asked me if you could be up here. And I said, yeah, you could be up here. But those records belong to me. We the people. We paid for those records. I'm entitled to see what I'm buying, where my money is going. That's all. I understand, and I've gone through this with Lower Borough about not taking pictures and stuff because there's copyright laws, which you as the Borough Council could waive that. You could waive that and say, no, we're not going to hold to him. He can look at them. They have to make copies of them. We'll post them on our website for crying out loud. What's wrong with doing that? That's open. What do you hide? Thank you very much.
Mr. Bain, I've got a question.
Wait, hold on. That is going to end public comments now. You can have a seat, sir, because we're not getting into discussion there. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I don't, I got a question. It has nothing to do with what he talked about.
You're going to ask him a question?
I'd
like, can we do it?
I'll do it afterwards.
There you go.
Thank you. With that, I will say one thing. Now that public comment is done, I will have one comment. The letters that you received from Mr. Dice pretty much were self-explanatory. They answered your questions. We don't have a police manual to give you to read, indexes to read yet. They're in flux. They're redoing them right now. And that was specifically answered by the solicitor.
Yeah, and one other point. If any citizen is unhappy with what we have said in response to their requests, regardless of the merits of the request.
Could you speak up?
Hold on a second, I'm talking now.
I can't
Your
hear you.
time's up, well, I can't help you there. We got the equipment.
Can
We're
you
gonna-
speak up?
You did pretty good hearing before.
I'm sorry?
You did pretty good hearing before. I would suggest to you that there is a method for them to him to get relief, and that's with the Office of Open Records. There's an appeal process. If anybody has a problem with any of the responses that we give, you can appeal to the Open Records Office, and they'll decide whether or not the citizen has a right to that particular information. When things are in transition, not completed, they are not subject to the right to know. It's once the document is completed, the contract is signed, that they're open to public comment, not until that time. So that's what Mr. Doyle's leaning towards. I just thought you needed to hear that.
Okay, with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Dern. Second by Mr. Hadley, all in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Before I go, Dave, I've got hearing loss service related, and the VA gives me these little things.
I got the same.